Greetings, and welcome to A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. For this project, we are using the Ivan Walters reference book of 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Each day, we watch a movie associated with the date we are watching it on. And as it is the 4th of August, we are going to be watching The Diary of Anne Frank from 1959, directed by George Stevens and starring Millie Perkins. I am aware of the story that this is based on. I apologize. The actual documentation of the words written by the actual woman herself, Anne Frank. There are several versions that have been done to this particular storyline, but it's basically something that I have never really pursued to actually investigating to actually witness. And as it would be, because of this project, this will be the first time watching this movie. And like I'd already said, not only does this movie star Millie Perkins, but it also stars Joseph Schildkraut, Shelley Winters, Richard Beymer, Gusty Huber, Lou Jacobi, Diane Baker, and Ed Wynn. In Nazi-occupied Holland in World War II, shopkeeper Kraler, played by Douglas Spencer, hides two Jewish families in his attic. Young Anne Frank, played by Millie Perkins, keeps a diary of everyday life for the Franks and the Van Dans, chronicling the Nazi threat as well as family dynamics. A romance with Peter Van Daan, played by Richard Beymer, causes jealousy between Anne and her sister Margot, played by Diane Baker. Otto Frank, played by Joseph Schildkraut, returns to the attic many years after the eventual capture of both families and finds his late daughter's diary. So obviously for reasons because of the story, a good portion of this movie takes place in the one setting, the attic area of the household that these two families are held up in. It's also very almost sort of documentarian-esque, as we have constant, well, not constant, but occasional voiceovers by Anne Frank moving the story along. And again, for the length of time that they are actually basically trapped upper hiding area of the household. Now, I'm not going to claim that I know very much about the actual details of the actual story of Anne Frank, but if this is close to what actually is written in the pages, it's a very moving story of hope and of tragedy and just the struggle of humanity in the time when definitely the most unfortunate people were in charge of everything, having to cower because of a religious inclination is just most like devastating blight on the history of humanity. Now, we do have a lengthy movie, and we do get to explore a lot because we basically have an almost like single cast. We basically there are minor little extra players put into it, but we get to explore almost every single one's dynamics, which is a rare thing to see, which is quite entertaining. I will admit that the moment that Ed Wynn showed up on screen, I'm like, that face looks familiar, but... And then realizing, oh, right, because he's not putting on a silly voice or something like that. This is the fantastic actor, Ed Wynn, known as the voice of the Disney animated Alice in Wonderland's Mad Hatter. So, yeah, so it's really fun to see this actor doing something, because I've seen footage of him basically like reciting the lines as he's acting through the motions for the animators to follow his lead, but this is not a very animated character, but it is a very strong character, like everyone else in this movie. Once the group itself has to deal with like air raids and starvation rations, it is the arrest of the grocer who had unknowingly been supplying them with food, to them being discovered and arrested on August 4th, 1944, which is about 2 hours and 37 minutes into this 3-hour film. And when it came to the Academy Awards for that particular season, it ended up winning for Best Supporting Actress for Shelley Winters, Best Cinematography, and Best Art Direction. It also ended up getting nominated for Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Ed Wynn, Best Costume Design, Best Director, Best Original Score. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this particular episode, look off into the future to see what we're going to be watching for tomorrow. And that is going to be for the 5th of August. And that is also going to be Braveheart from 1995. So until next time, go see a movie.